Hey everybody, sorry there's not gonna be any timestamps today or structure of any kind. I just saw this news about Netflix buying out Warner Brothers and seeing this coming after other nonsense that they've been pushing for, such as their disdain for theatrical releases and doubling down of making even more garbage for their platform, plus other subscription-based problems that we're seeing in gaming as well. I just had to fire up the mic and rant. Because I hate this push towards a fully digital, fully subscription-based future. You know what that sounds like? Sounds like fully boring, fully bland, fully sad, plastic-ass lifestyle, fully bullshit. You know where movies going straight to digital were good at? Same as the ones that went straight to DVD, the ones that either sucked the dong or that were just not worth making it into theatrical releases. But we're now at a point where this is deliberately the level of quality that they're going to go for. It's the level of quality they've been going for. Quick surface level content rather than actual meaningful productions. And guys, I genuinely hate where we're going. It's the same shit going on with gaming. I made a video titled The All Digital Scam exactly 1 year ago. It didn't do so well, my channel was still significantly smaller and honestly sometimes some topics just don't do so well. Also, you know, maybe the thumbnail sucked, but regardless, man, it was pretty much a 50-minute rant about this shit, but more on the gaming side of things, and 1 year later, this disease just keeps progressing and getting worse. The enshittification of entertainment and the push towards having it all on the cloud. And honestly, at this point, it isn't even just about owning our media anymore, you know, which is important in and of itself, don't get me wrong, because you can be damn sure that with the loss of physical media, we will see a significant hike in game prices because we'll lose 3 optional avenues of making smart decisions with our purchases, those being waiting for regular price drops, third-party store sales, and of course, the second-hand market where you can buy and sell your own games. And then eventually, with the loss of ownership even in digital media, which will be these companies' next fucking targets, we'll see a severe price hike in our hobby as a whole where we're dependent on multiple expensive subscriptions and subscription tiers. You can expect that shit too. We're already there with the Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. It's just not egregious yet because this is how these companies do things. You don't just burst in through the wall right away, you slowly and carefully walk in through the door. But the end goal is the same, it's just that instead of being cooked immediately in year 1, you get slowly cooked over a 20-year period, as they keep raising the temperature under your ass year after year. But again, it ain't even just because of ownership anymore, it's because of what it's taken away from us as people, what it's taken away from the very medium culturally. Some of the shit I say in this video might come off as nonsense, especially to certain viewers, but I'll be damned if it isn't concerning enough to warrant a rant. When you change the culture around something, you change everything about it. If we go back in time, to a time before I was even born, going out to watch a movie was a special kind of thing, and this maintained itself for a long time. It's not that it is as special going forward as more movies started popping up and as movie theaters evolved as well. Like my dad told me, a dude would have to bike around across town to get these movie reel box things, you know, from theater to theater as they were playing the movies at different times because each theater would not have their own reel. Also, I mean, Jesus, we're talking about a goddamn reel here. This shit feels ancient. It's not that the advancement of technology changed the culture of the movie-going experience in this case, it just made it work better. It made it easier and more convenient, but the movie-going experience for the viewer was still there. Going a bit forward in time to when I was a kid, going to the movies was still special. Oh, it was a whole goddamn thing, going to the mall, eating at McDonald's, getting the tickets, some popcorn, which at the time was still fucking affordable, and then going into that big-ass dark room, finding our seats before the main event started. With this push towards just making everything digital, this core experience isn't getting enhanced, it's getting eliminated from our cultural experience completely. And I think that sucks, man. I know things like Netflix gained popularity because they offered convenience. It was like, do you want to get dressed and head out to rent a movie at Blockbuster? Or do you want to just get out of bed, chill out, get breakfast, turn on the heater, sit on the couch and just browse a wide selection of movies to watch instead? Well, of course, people ended up opting out of the Blockbuster thing. And you know, the funny thing is that there's nostalgia for that too. I personally can't relate, but I know a lot of people who romanticize the whole walking to Blockbuster and picking out a movie type of thing. So at the end of the day, there's always going to be room for generational disconnect when it comes to talking about these things. After all, you can't miss something that you never experience. That's the thing I touched on before when it comes to online games. Online gamers these days won't even want to touch a game unless there's like 55 different roadmap things to look forward to. Meanwhile, I was lucky enough to experience online gaming where it was just literally all about having fun with a complete game at launch. No roadmaps, no battle passes, just play and unlock stuff that's already in the game and has a limit. Or play because the game is super fun and engage with the community-made content such as it was with Counter-Strike and the servers that people would create with their own game modes. But it's very difficult to get these newer people to listen, especially when complaining about roadmaps and microtransactions, because they never experienced a game that didn't have it. They never played an online game that wasn't made with monetization in mind. They don't know what they're missing. So I understand that there's a generational disconnect issue that will always be there going forward. And the generational thing is even worse in concept, honestly, because it's not even that there's an evolving factor that older people aren't being able to keep up with, it's that things are getting worse and the kids of tomorrow are getting literally molded by the garbage. You really can't miss what you never experienced, and that means the quality of entertainment in general. Companies like Amazon, Netflix, and Disney, our future overlords of media, don't even have to try and make better films and shows. They don't have to try and revive the movie-going experience because the type of audience that awaits them, the audience that they're aiming for, is currently getting their brains turned into piss at the age of 2 by watching Cocomelon. And the ones who are a bit older than 2 are getting a similar treatment with shit like TikTok.
6, 7, 6, 7, what did you do?
And in the gaming side of things, we have all these shitty mobile games that they play on their parents' phones. Over-monetized garbage that does nothing except constant colorful gratification. Actually, did I say their parents' phones? Let's get real. Kids these days get phones before they're even potty trained. There's a war on quality out there right now, and that's the biggest threat I see to entertainment, because for now, we're still the majority, right? It's still us who want to buy and play quality games and watch quality stories with some goddamn maturity and artistry. But someday, it won't be. And I fear that there's going to be such a wide experience gap between us and the generations growing up cursed by shit like Cocomelon. Shit that, if you're not aware, is legitimately designed to fry kids' brains. And all of that is just going to totally upend these industries. If there's something I would urge parents to do as soon as possible in their kids' lives, is introduce them to the cartoons, animated movies, and video games that they grew up with, rather than the new shit strategically designed to shorten attention spans and fry dopamine receptors. Come on, Dez, you're being paranoid. These companies are just following the trends. Maybe they're just following the trends, or maybe they're molding their future goddamn customers. Or maybe, even if they are just following the trends, they fucking shouldn't. Because at some point, you're not even making the things that you set out to make in the first place. We are on a whole other level now. Like, it's one thing for Netflix to exist and Blockbuster going out of business, but at the same time, the movie-going and movie-making experiences remain the same. Netflix was just a way to replace DVDs, not cinema. But it's another thing when that disease of exponential unending growth and monetary expectations keeps progressing, and now it's not just blockbusters that are shutting down, it's entire movie theaters because the movie-going experience is going extinct. And here's the thing, I know some people don't like going to the cinema anymore, and the reason varies. On one hand, you might find noisy assholes inside, on the other hand, it's expensive as fuck and getting even more expensive. But the key here shouldn't be to just terminate the thing, it should be to make it better. Make it more affordable, actually have the effort of keeping those rooms pristine and monitored, and of course, make better movies. A part of cinema's dying is also that there's a lot of garbage. When there were good movies, there were even cultural events surrounded them, like for example Barbenheimer 2 years ago. Hollywood has been wading through sludge over the past few years for the same reasons gaming has been struggling. Entertainment as a whole is suffering, studios are closing down. project cancellations, etc. And there are no cinemas in gaming, we can actually see the problem quite clearly, a total disconnect between audiences and producers because producers think they know better and invited activism into their media empires. Instead of escapism, they prefer politics. We'd do better to try and make the damn thing better, root out the activism, mend the divide between audiences and these franchises, watch the goddamn ticket prices, and keep things going rather than continuing down this path of drastically changing them. Because it isn't even just about where you watch your movies anymore. Personally, I like watching them at home on my TV too. I'm making this whole rant and it isn't even something that applies to me. Except it does. Because I wouldn't want them releasing on streaming services either. Because I know it's going to change the movies themselves. It's one of those things where you think it doesn't impact you because you just go, well, I don't care, I don't like going to the cinema either. But it's impacting you indirectly because a lot's going to change. That alone will change how movies are made. It changes the mentality behind it. As a small localized example, think of how studios measure whether or not a movie did well. Think of how critics are able to discern that too, the same way that we try to do so for video games by checking how many sales they made. They do that by the box office. And as another example, even though I'm not a fan of bloated budgets for bland results that don't justify it, the truth is, it elevates the form of entertainment. It puts it on a pedestal that says, no, this isn't just another Netflix movie, this is the newest theatrical release. There's a pedestal there. We can't see it, it's invisible to the eye, but it's there. It's kinda how we expect PlayStation exclusives to be far better than a Ubisoft game. They're both AAA games, and hell, they may even both have largely the same budgets, but they hit different. They set different expectations. And once that expectation is gone and everything falls into the same default slopification of content that shitholes like Amazon, Netflix, and Disney made, I legitimately don't even want to think about what will happen to the franchises that were once upon a time major theatrical events. Like, look at this list with all these IPs. Batman, Matrix, Dune, Mad Max, Blade Runner, etc. And imagine them do to them what they did to the Witcher series. I mean, shit, of course nobody would ever want to go to the theaters like this, pay like $20 for a ticket to watch shit melting in the sunlight? No thanks. But it's getting destroyed either way. Because they don't have to get better. The slopification sustains them. Look at The Witcher. Again, it's a shithole. It's a terrible goddamn property. Yet, Netflix is still making money hand over fist. Why? Because even if you think that Netflix Witcher is a piece of shit show, it's not going to stop all the other subscriptions from people who just kinda wanna watch fucking Dr. House or whatever. Great media from once upon a time, shit that released in theaters, for example, or that were just good shows as well. A lot of people log in for shows, of course, are sustaining their destruction of our future media. It's fucking bullshit, man. It changes the inherent value of the thing we're talking about. That's why I have videos criticizing and warning of the same sort of issue in gaming with subscription services such as Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. When you shift the focus away from making a terrific game that needs to be impressive enough to get people to buy it, so you can get a profit, and then have some good looking numbers to attract future investors, and instead the new focus is, you're just making a game that is going to be thrown into a subscription service in which you can't even count how many people are subscribing just for your game specifically, and also the game is going to be there indefinitely so you don't even have to care about how the game looks to be performing. And also, even if the game is bad, it will still benefit from the new and ongoing subscriptions that are there for other games, then you have effectively changed why a video game gets made. I explain this stuff in more detail on the individual videos where I talk about it. I'll put the links down in the description and the top comment if you're interested. But one of the main points of it is you have just removed a considerable part of the risk, which now enables you to just not think that hard or not care that much. Maybe the story isn't quite the way you'd like it to be. Maybe it would benefit from a few redrafts, but whatever, it's not that important. Maybe the endgame is awful because there was no time to think about it, but whatever, we'll make do. Besides, we gotta pump the content out, we don't have time for more delays. Maybe side content sucks. Maybe you should focus on that a little bit more, make it a little bit better. Maybe you should follow the lead of other games that did it way better than you did, because you would like to sell as much as they did or even more, but whatever, who cares, it's not that serious. It's just a Game Pass game. Maybe your game is even buggy as fuck or very very unoptimized, but whatever, just launch it anyway. We got time to fix it later. Besides, it's not like people are spending $60 on it right up front. They can just quit out of the game and play something else on the Game Pass. I mean, holy hell, the "we have time to fix it later" mentality is another palpable piece of evidence of the way that a change in practice results in a change in culture, which impacts the experience. Certainly you've already heard of one of those old-ass gamer dads going, "We actually used to have games releasing in a finished state." And yeah, it's true. I mean, to be fair, I am a PS2 generation guy. I'm not that young either, but at the time I was too poor to have a PS2. Still, I experienced a couple of games that released complete regardless. Anyway, of course this was because you couldn't fix them afterwards. You couldn't rely on that. I mean, sure, you can also argue that games were simpler to make, and yeah, that's true, but studios and dev teams were also smaller. Shit grew proportionately, but either way, that doesn't matter because the facts still stand that companies, or even smaller developers, now rely on the fact that they can just put out patch updates to fix games later. And honestly, I don't want to sound like a super hard-ass type of guy because I'm not. I totally tolerate this kind of thing, like it's, at the end of the day, I see it as a net positive, not a net negative. It's just yet another one of those things that is in tune with the theme of this video where something in moderation is really good and tolerable, but when pricks start abusing it and releasing borderline broken games, that's when problems come up. Thankfully, not everyone is doing that. And so heading back to the movie-going experience thing, I just hate seeing how much is changing around us that impacts our day-to-day and the way that we engage with entertainment and kinda just exist. You know those dystopian movies and video games that are presented in this way where everyone is just, kind of like a total shut-in? They just go to work and then they go back to their small homes and massive building complexes. Characters are too busy working or too busy being paranoid that they're being spied on, too busy being miserable, so they just stay shut in with technology instead of going out because going out is just a mess. That feels like where we're going. Well, that feels like what we're, slowly stepping towards. And it isn't even going to be one of those cool dystopias where you have like your own 2B android to give you a nah, dog, it's gonna be one of those boring, lame, sad dehumanization of society ones, just the dehumanization minus the robot mates. Ah, come on, Daz, you're just watching too many movies. Maybe I am, fellas, maybe I am, but sometimes, I don't know. At the end of the day, I just don't know up to what point it's too much to try and replace things that got people to gather together and go out. Be that for hobbies like movies or video games or even work. Like all this AI stuff where, oh, it'll be great, all these jobs will be automated and be done so much faster and conveniently. I don't know how great that is at all. Maybe some things should just not be touched, you know what I mean? And I know that for some cases, some of you guys could just say, but Dez, you can just invite your friends to come watch Netflix or play video games at your place. But get serious, guys. I mean, between the awkwardness of asking a homie if he wants to do some Netflix and chill at your house, and the rest of the shit happening around us that is robbing us of even having the free time to do anything, you can just scratch that off. Also, look at all the games that eliminated split-screen modes over the years, many of which did so that they could increase the number of copies sold by incentivizing online play. See what I mean? It's a theme. Replacing cool, older things that people used to genuinely enjoy under the guise of progress, then labeling the previous thing as archaic, like, split screen bro, just play online.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
And shit, I mean, look around. You'll be lucky if you can afford the goddamn subscriptions in the first place. When you take a look around, you see certain things that have been cooked for a long time already, like housing. But then on top of that, you look at groceries, and they just keep going up too. You look at other things that are basic needs, necessities, and small quality of life things, and everything just keeps going up as well. Basically everything except our paychecks. Oh, you look at the news, and everyone's saying how fantastic the economy is now and look at all the green numbers. But let's face it, we're not feeling a goddamn thing. Like maybe you got an uncle or whatever who's doing better for himself because he, I don't know, works in some sort of specific industry that is doing really well right now. Like I don't fucking know, aluminum or whatever. But you are not. You're still cooked. Groceries are going up, housing's going up, you can barely have a date with your girlfriend or spouse because she's gotta work one or even more jobs just to make ends meet, so good luck having a friend date for Netflix and chill. You can't raise a family because you got no goddamn money for all the needs that come with it, including additional ones like a place to drop the kid off so that you can go to work in order to be able to afford the place to drop the kid off. And no real free time or availability to chase dreams either. Like maybe you got a dream, maybe something you'd like to pursue, but it's either expensive or time consuming, so you just give up and conform with the rest. You bow your head down and you embrace monotony because you gotta eat. While at the same time, every other company around you is creating all this shit. All of these things that are supposed to be so much better and offer so much more convenience, but it's like the fucking convenience is made to just get your ass to work faster and for longer hours. I remember making a joke in my CD Projekt Red video where I criticized how they corporatized themselves, turning their studio into a whole campus that looks like a holiday resort. I think I said it looked like they were just creating amenities for their workers to not even need to go home anymore and just spend even more time at work, like hell, maybe one day even sleep there. And honestly, it wasn't even a joke, it's more like a prophecy at this point. It's where we're headed. Oh, and of course we can't forget all the unemployed morons on the internet who would go, "Well, Jeremy, you should have gone into aluminum then, buddy." But it's like, seriously, this is the response? People used to be able to do a job of various kinds and still live a dignified life. Now if you want a dignified life, you can only have these few specific jobs that are bringing in the dough. Meanwhile, the other 90% of functions get shafted. What kind of goddamn deal is that? And why this whole rant about all this stuff? Why get so nihilistic or whatever the word would be? Well, for one, a bit of gallows humor, but also because sometimes I genuinely feel tired, guys. Like I'm tired of the same pervasive ideology gaining ground. I mostly focus on gaming and entertainment, and it is always what I'll mainly center my videos around. But I'd be lying if the same kind of thing isn't affecting other facets of our lives. In fact, arguably, it's actually the main problem. It's centered outside of entertainment, but it's affecting it and changing it to fit with the rest of where our societies are headed towards. I just wish things could be taken back there to that simpler time where crap was being made to be enjoyed and truly convenient, before the greed-driven unending growth bullshit took over everything. You know what's one of the stupidest things we allowed to happen? It kinda just exists and we let it. Planned obsolescence. It's just one of those things right there at the base of everything. The concept that if you buy a product, that product has an expectancy to fail. Even if you treat it well, you never drop it on the floor, you never do anything that you shouldn't do with it, it will have shit built into them that makes them stop working after a while, so you have to go out and buy another. Because that's just the way it is. Companies might have been there to make great products to make life better for you, but corporations are not. Nothing can just exist to be enjoyed anymore. Everything is its own fucking rat race. Netflix began as a convenience kind of thing. Don't walk to Blockbuster in the rain, stay in and have your stuff delivered to your door. Eventually, hell, just sign into the platform and don't bother with ordering anything at all. Just take your pick of what you want to watch, huddle up by the fireplace, and enjoy your 2 p.m. session of Gladiator on a Sunday afternoon. But now that's just not in anymore, man. Why the fuck can't that be it? Why do we always have to push for more? Why did they have to go and think, nah, I mean we're already raking in more millions than we even know what the fuck to do with, but now we're gonna go and replace the entire movie-going and movie-making experience. And we're gonna buy and absorb everything around us so it's all under our control, under our media conglomerate. Same goddamn thing with Disney. And then it's not even just that, brother, it's how shitty most of the content is. And that's really the beauty of it, isn't it? If you see a competitor doing better than you, offering people what they want, You just eat them up before they get too big, and now you can add them to your pool of garbage. Same with Game Pass and other subscriptions in gaming. Starts out as a convenience, the greatest deal in gaming. Just subscribe and browse a nice balanced catalog of small, medium, and occasionally big games. Download any that you want and play directly or stream them with a stable internet connection for a nice fair price. It was amazing. It was fantastic, really. I praised it myself and shamed PlayStation for how much better it was than PlayStation Now at the time. But now it has to be fuck it, we're gonna take all of Xbox, we're gonna turn it into the Game Pass. Screw hardware, screw franchises that have been there since the start, screw the whole Xbox brand. The goal is now to replace the average game ownership and game playing experience into being stream-based. Like no, f you, I don't want that. There's nothing good that comes of any of it. I want to own my games. I want the medium to be affordable and comfortable. I want gaming to just be gaming. I don't want these companies trying to force change into the landscape just so that they can be the leaders of whatever new ecosystem they're trying to rush off to and create. We already had this story with Kinect and VR and fucking Google Stadia. We don't want it. Stop trying. Stop forcing it. Because that's the thing. Once they can't do it by giving us choice, they try to take away our goddamn choice. Like, what is Xbox doing to try to push the Game Pass onto you where they're making their goddamn games $80? That way it's like, well, player, you don't want to pay $80 for the new Doom game or whatever, right? What you really want is to pay $30 so you can get the Game Pass. Why don't you just go f yourself? Hell, I don't even want them to keep pushing the boundaries of graphics. The fuck do we have to gain from, waiting 8 years for a game that looks like a 9 but plays like a 5? Who's this for? GPU companies is literally the only answer I can even come up with at this point, because I generally don't see what we have had to gain from it over the last 10 years, where game visuals have remained largely the same, while specs keep going up because of unoptimized garbage, and of course, number one, the realization that we've already hit the point where true beauty in a game isn't going to come from how many pores I can count on a protagonist's face, or how many, little strings of hair I can see on a beautiful female character's hair, or if I can see peach fuzz on their chins. None of that matters. It's going to come from the art style and what great artists can do with it. All this basically is now is a clown show for investors, because when you go to investors, you can't show them good gameplay because they don't understand what good gameplay is. They don't play video games. They'll look at the good gameplay and go, whoa, what is this? What is the people are gonna like this? The only way to get a fucking investor to shell out good money is by showing them pretty graphics, so they can look at it like, oh, wow, good graphics and lots of particle effects and shit. That's how you get them to shit themselves. Not us though. Not really. I mean, a lot of people will look at graphics and be like, wow, look at these visuals, they look amazing. But then if the game doesn't make up for it, it's over. But if it's the other way around, it actually does fly. But why aren't we prioritized? Why are the investors and their point of view more priority? Well, of course, because of money. Because we're so deep in this system that we already reached the brain rot zone, where these companies' priorities have completely flipped. So now it's not really about getting good games made to please you, the buyer, it's about their corporate goals. Big corporate goals, not just about securing investments, but about changing the landscape. Changing how we play, how we perceive enjoyment. Go back to the example I gave just a little bit ago about the online games. How new players don't even question when they're getting fucking scammed by in-game monetization. They want the landscape and the mentality to change so much that whenever they do something that just makes no goddamn sense and only hurts us, our response is just go, well, it is what it is. This is actually a great game because I played that other game the other day and it was even worse than this, so this is actually pretty good. You change the practice, you change the culture, you change the experience. And just in general, outside of that, I don't want a future where every single good positive thing and interaction that comes from owning our games and other media, plus the human experience of going out to buy something or to watch something or share it with our friends, is removed or replaced by some bullshit that presents itself as more convenient or more futuristic. I've literally heard people praise this shit by saying, ugh, I don't like having clunky game boxes around. I don't even know where to put them. Bitch, you don't have shelves? You don't got like a box or something? Like, what is it? Your wife won't let you have your own little shelf of video games next to a shelf of Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey books? Why don't you just stop being such a soy boy instead? Even if part of the human experience is doing the boring thing of walking to a game store or going to a movie theater or hell, even a grocery store, just to buy something that I can already order online and have digitally available to me in the same second or shipped home by one of those dumbass robots that they're teaching how to walk, I want to still have it. Maybe I sound crazy, fellas. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I mean, I am exaggerating a few things for entertainment purposes. I mean, this is a video after all, and you know, you gotta do what you gotta put on the show a little bit. Maybe I can just go out whenever I want, and these individual things being streamlined or digitized don't have to be connected. But in the end, behind the cheeky banter, I still strongly believe that they are regardless, because if you just follow the money and you follow the trends, that's where it's going. And even what you can still choose to do today will be woven out of your experience a few years later, since there's no need of it anymore. That's the culture part. When you eliminate something in practice, you change the culture, and even monetarily, it just makes sense. Like if you eliminate the demand for something, that something is eventually going to go out of business. Sure, you can still do movie dates at home with your friends. Hell, maybe you're rich. Maybe you even have one of those indoor theaters. Doesn't really matter though, you're still weaving that out of our collective future. I mean, our collective culture. You know, future is obviously collective. Unless one of us is like a time traveler and it can like fucking live like in a time capsule, you know, or maybe you can just become a Mormon and you go live in the mountains or something. That's what Mormons do, right? Actually, I don't know. Wait a minute, wasn't that the other guys? Wasn't that the other guy? I forgot their names. You know, the ones that helped Superman build a house. Or no. Actually, Superman helped them build a house in an episode of Smallville. Anyway, what the fuck am I talking about? The point is, all of this sucks. And then when you look at the why, when you look at that's the worst part. It's when you look at the reason, because it's utterly retarded. Pardon my French. It's all down to greed, man. It's a pretty, you know, what's the word? It's a pretty uninspired take, I know, but it's true. There's nothing about it that is a necessity, there's nothing about it that is improving or expediting. It's literally just, hey, I'm big enough and rich enough to destroy this thing in order to make more money and make myself the go-to place for watching new movies or etc. It's pure greed. It's the same shit that's been killing the games industry because of the expectancy of constant, unlimited growth. I've been complaining about this since like 2015, which isn't even that early, but it was when it began hitting me that the games industry was going down a really shitty road of self-destruction, as they bent themselves backwards to maximize profits year after year. Like, you can't just make $1 bajillion in a year and be happy with it. Now, next year, or next time you release a new game, you need to make $5 bajillion. And then the time after that, you need 10 bajillion. And then 50. And then 100. And oh man, what's that? Oh shit, we're not being able to achieve these goals with just making solid video games anymore? Well then, let's artificially crank that up. Let's make the games artificially grindier and overinflated with garbage to extend playtime. And then let's add an e-store and some loot boxes so players will spend more money on top of the money that they already spent. But sir, we are impacting the core experience.
Shut up, silly woman.
I hate this corporatized bullshit. I hate this culture, man. It's greed at its most pure. It's completely unsustainable and it rots everything. We can never have nice things because those nice things will eventually be accelerated into garbage, or, for example, in the case of AI, which we're seeing now, used to progress into extremely dangerous and unknown territory. Or, you know, it needs an expiration date so that the company can have you buy the new model. And it's getting even worse. Like, I don't know if you guys saw a recent CoffeeZilla video. I actually just saw it just now when I was taking a bathroom break from recording this. You can now do gambling directly from some banking apps. Gambling is going wilder and wilder. It's actually crazy to see how pervasive it has become and how companies are just throwing themselves into this. And video games have helped that along by being allowed to use extremely addicting models that simulated gambling for really young people in any video video games during the last generation before Battlefront 2 blew that bubble. Like, do you know how cooked we have to be as a society where your bank just kinda goes, "Hey George, you wanna gamble some of that money away right now?" What the fuck are we doing, bro? You know, it was either earlier this year or late last year, I remember seeing an article saying wokeness is dying and we might miss it, and I remember thinking, why the fuck would I miss that shit?
You serious?
Well boys, I kind of understand why. In a way, wokeness and the way companies threw themselves into it, going crazy over optics, always worrying about who they hire, what statements they put out, what products they make, what brands they associate with, you know, what people they associate with, what projects, programs, and initiatives they can jump into in order to present the most friendly, positive, tolerant, cutesy-tootsy progressive facade they could out onto the public. That right there is what kept companies in check for a while. There were some lines that they wouldn't want to cross because of optics, but as we slowly move away from this over-obsession with optics, I think companies are going to be doing that shit in overdrive. They kind of already are when you think about it, when it comes to AI. Despite wokeness hating AI, these companies are throwing billions of dollars into it. Governments are going into the trillions, even the ones that are supposed to be progressive. I think they're gonna keep going and just do about anything and everything that pops into their path to make money hand over fist. Doesn't matter if it's exploiting addicts, doesn't matter if it's disregarding human rights, doesn't matter if it's pouring trillions of dollars into AI so they can replace as many human jobs and functions as possible without a single goddamn care in the world about the consequences. All those dystopias where corporations are the only ones around and hold as much power or even more so than the governments or even are the governments themselves, all those dystopian universes where the ones going to war are corporations rather than nations. Fellas, I'm not going to lie, I can now see that these creative writers really did their homework when crafting the world building, history and lore of their science fictions. And man, wasn't wokeness just a perfect thing to keep us all busy fighting each other over useless things that really didn't matter instead of focusing on what the hell has been going on? That's why I'm never going to miss it. Take AI for example, it's the perfect example for this. There are serious concerns to do with it. It's not that it's all bad, hell, I bet some of you guys use it for actual convenience and that's fine, and honestly, even outside of convenience, you have far more valid uses for it too, like engineering, science, medicine, etc. But the concerns are massive, and they're not even the classic AI in movies kind of thing where one flips out and kills humanity. Like, it ain't even that. It's just simply how unprepared we are for the changes that it brings. Surely you've also seen how Micron Technology announced that they're exiting the crucial consumer business and going into supplying memory and storage for AI data centers? That's an example. Gaming and general PC building is about to get insanely expensive because these fucking companies are all dumping billions and shifting focus into AI while the rest of us sit here sinking in quicksand. And that's just like a microscopic thing of this huge concern in regards to AI consuming so much of our day-to-day living, making everything more expensive around us while providing us with nothing but retarded shit framed as convenience. Like there's AI on some online clothing stores now, where an AI generates models wearing the clothes and it doesn't even look good. And even if it did, why? We've been buying clothes by looking at clothes since clothes were created. What the fuck do we need an AI in this for? Or AIs to help you cook, or hell, AIs to help you figure out where you want to eat. Beer companies also using AI for shit that I can't even bother keeping up with and logged in my brain. Like, I've seen a bunch of this stuff happening over the last 2 years, instances where it pops up on my feed, I go, what the fuck is that shit for? And then I wipe the details from my mind because it's just that stupid. 99% of it is either shit we don't need or shit we're not prepared for, like replacing the workforce with no plans for how that workforce is going to be able to survive in this money-driven world. Majority of us lives paycheck to paycheck, and those paychecks are now a planned obsolescence. We have no infrastructure to accommodate this, nor mentality to adapt to it. But these real conversations are never had because whenever AI discussion happens, it always bogs down to dumbass partisanship or identity problems, where if you're a lefty, you're meant to hate it, and if you're a righty, you're meant to support it because the lefties hate it, just as it was recently with the Markiplier drama. It's always this type of shit, and that's why dividing us with identity politics is the best damn move these companies have ever made. That way we don't discuss real issues and we just hate each other over surface level nonsense. And all this shit I just vented about now coming from one simple announcement: the acquisition of Warner Brothers by Netflix, as simultaneously they push for a future where they essentially compete with Disney for biggest media/entertainment asshole on the planet, over the corpse of classic movie-going experiences. I must be mentally ill or some shit.
What are you, retarded? So I know you're not retarded. But what are you, Down syndrome?
Either way, I hope they all go under, honestly. And while they're going under, I hope Netflix and Disney jack up their prices even more than they're already planning to do so in order to sustain this unsustainable infinite growth. I hope the average guy looks at how much the monthly subscription is and pieces the fuck out. Not because I want the average guy to struggle, I mean Jesus, that's the last thing that we need. We're already struggling enough as it is. But because I want the average guy to revolt against this shit. I want all the John normies out there to wake up from the absolute broke-back fucking that they're receiving from these companies and reject them, returning instead to alternate mediums of entertainment. And I want the AI bubble to burst and all these punk-ass companies to start reaping the bullshit they're sowing too. And I hope that just makes these companies go under that much faster. I hope they panic on the way out too. But back to Netflix, it ain't even because I think they're gonna turn every one of these properties into cringe, like, it's not because I firmly believe that Netflix is going to deliver the soyest, lamest Batman content ever seen, or make a Mad Max series about how capitalists destroyed the world and took all the water or some shit while being the face of greed themselves, or screw up the DC universe even more than they already did themselves, or reboot the Matrix and turn it into weapons-grade, superficial cringe. It's not specifically because of any of that, because any of the big streaming platforms are susceptible to doing the exact same thing. It's simply because I hate it when a good thing that was born out of convenience, consumer friendliness, and quality of life becomes just yet another corporate fucking black hole. But I guess that's it from me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll leave a link to my all digital scam video from last year if you're interested in a deeper dive through specifically just the gaming topic. It'll be on the top comment and the description as well, next to the other one. And yeah, that aside, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video if you want to help the channel, and if you're new, subscribe and help me get to 25k. I'll see you boys and gals on the next one. Take care of yourselves, and hey, I promise it's going to be much lighter.